Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire State Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time. WNDS Sports presents New England's favorite bowling show. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Featuring the best bowlers from around the region. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And now your hosts, Dick Lutz and Mike Moore.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. We have reached the top of the ladder in our mixed doubles competition. A champion will be crowned this afternoon. And thus far, the team of Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley have won a couple of very impressive matches.
They hung around last week for Morgan and Rosano, who almost caught him, but then Sargent and Cawley had a big finish, and that was it. See you later, and now we're in the championship round today.
And they'll take on our top-seeded team. We'll get to that in a second. Let's meet our bowlers first. Our number 3-seeded team, winner of 2 matches thus far. Cyndi Cawley from Franklin and Chris Sargent from Haverhill.
Cyndi Cawley, average 117, high single 169, high triple 414. She bowls at Fico's in Franklin and Candlewood Lanes in North Reading, Mass.
And they'll be taking on our top-seeded team of Deb Regan from Manchester, New Hampshire, and Mike McGann from Weymouth, Massachusetts.
Deb Regan, who I believe this is her 4th out of the last 5 years in the mixed doubles, average 123, high single 191, high triple is 439. She bowls at Exeter Lanes and Park Place. And let's find out a little bit about Mike McGann. It's his first time on our show. He's got a 118 average, high single 188, high triple 450. And he bowls at Hanover and the Hanson Bowlodrome south of Boston.
Cawley and Sargent have thus far defeated the team of Deb Matranga and Joe Smith. And last week they defeated Joanne Rosano and Mike Morgan. They had a 12.74 in the roll-off to gain the number 3 seed. Deb Regan and Mike McGann had a 13.45. They're our top-seeded team, and this afternoon we will crown a champion. Let's get right to it. It's the championship match of mixed doubles coming up next when we return for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We are ready to go with the championship match. Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley taking on Deb Regan and Mike McGann, and Chris Sargent will be first to bowl on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, where we're ready for a great match this afternoon.
I think we need to let everybody in on a little bowling superstition, something that's going on right now.
Go ahead.
You may have noticed that I did not formally introduce Chris Sargent this week, nor did I the last 2 weeks. Now, the last 2 weeks, it was strictly an oversight on my part. We have 4 bowlers. I just somehow spaced it. So this week, he said, please don't introduce me because we've won the last 2 weeks when you didn't introduce me. So we deliberately did not introduce him formally at the beginning of the show this week.
Well, Chris sized up that spare opportunity and gave it his best shot and wasn't able to convert.
So who says bowlers aren't superstitious? You go with whatever's working, I guess. You wear the same underwear, you put your shoes on the same way, and in this case, you don't introduce Chris Sargent. So for the Chris Sargent fans, please know that today it was deliberate. Here's the bowler's worst nightmare, well, one of many, the spread eagle. Punching still again.
And that'll be a $5 for Chris Sargent, which is tough to take. And we get our first look on WNDS TV at number 1 seed Mike McGann. From Weymouth, Massachusetts, averages 118, a high single 188, high triple 450. Bowls out of Hanover Hanson Bowlodromes. First time on TV, 32 years old, 32 years bowling, he's 41 years old. And he'll start out with an 8-box.
He's really a nice guy.
Seems to be. He's an electrician by trade, employed as a laborer at Quincy Housing Authority. Has 4 children. Caitlin is 17, Mallory 14, Kyle 13, Justine 11.
Had a 688 for his share to get into the top spot with Deb Regan. And she bowled well enough to qualify for the men in 5th place, which was a moot point, of course, because she is bowling in the women's division this time around.
And he gets a mark, so that takes care of some of the butterflies early on. There's an interesting note about his kids. One child named Justine, another named Mallory. Of course, Justine Bateman from Family Ties played the role of Mallory.
That's right.
Alex Keaton's sister.
I did confirm with him that that was the genesis of the names, and he said yes.
Here's Cyndi Cawley.
Crazy about that show. Well, she chose to cap the wood. I'm not sure she really wanted to do that, but that's how it turned out, as opposed to brushing it over on the left side, which would have swept the 5-pin out.
Forgive me if I read this email earlier on from Kevin Cormier at candlepincorner.com. It was in my stack, and I just don't remember if I read it last month or not. There's a nice shot by Cyndi. First strike of the match. Now Deb Regan, a veteran of the TV wars. She's been on WNDS 9 times, on the old Channel 5 show once. She's been bowling for 19 years. But I started to say, Kevin Cormier sent us an email. He heard us talking about our annual grudge match, which takes place usually in February, and Deb Regan with a nice spare.
So
and he's going to make us an offer. If we retain our title, the kids at the annual fundraiser at Pilgrim Lanes, if I retain the title, we'll get a $100 donation from candlepincorner.com. And if either of us can bowl a 130 or better, he'll add $50 more.
130? Wow. Is he dreaming?
I better start practicing. Well, you've been practicing all along anyway.
Doesn't do any good, though, does it? Because, Dick, you are the best.
No question about it. It's about time that you noticed.
And that will only be a 7-box, as the ball jumped out of the gutter to take out that 10-pin a moment ago, so don't get upset with a 7 as opposed to an 8.
And now Chris Sargent working on Cyndi Cawley's strike. So that's a nice offer by Kevin. We'll take him up on it.
We will indeed, and look forward to our 4th grudge match. You lead in the series 2-1. You won the first and third years, I won in the middle. So history would suggest that probably this year is my turn, and if you're a true gentleman, you'll make that happen, Dick.
Don't count on it. A lot of wood on the deck. Nope, not going to go. So put 8 in the strike. And a 9-box. Chris Sargent, a policeman in the town of Groveland, Massachusetts. A bowling family, as we've noted in the past.
Got a Hall of Fame dad, Mike Sargent, inducted back in October. The ICBA Hall of Fame ceremonies in Manchester.
Nice spare for Chris right there. Mike McGann. Likes to play golf when he has the opportunity. It's a good first ball and a good spare opportunity right here with the 5 and the 8 and a piece of wood out in front. Michael, you could make this shot probably 50% of the time.
How much will Kevin Cormier pay me to make it for the kids? Pilgrim Lanes.
Spare from Mike McGann, 3rd mark of the string for the McGann-Regan team.
Want to say best wishes to Mike McGann's great nephew in the hospital. His name is Tyler. Mike's best goes out to Tyler's family. He's only 2 years old. No fun to be in a hospital at any age. Probably even less fun for the parents of a 2-year-old child. So Mike McGann sending out his best to Tyler and family. And we do the same.
That's an interesting delivery, a little hitch right at the end of his delivery. Will it go? No, the 7-pin still stands.
It's $1,500 at stake. The bowlers split all prize money won, including bonus money and high string bonus.
That'll be a 10.
Well, he looks calm and at ease.
Sure does.
For a first-timer. But even Gary Carrington mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago when he asked him, Dick, do the butterflies still hit? And he said, yes, they do.
Sure.
Even as many times as he's been on television and as much money as he's won, acknowledged as one of the best bowlers, he still gets nervous, he says.
Cyndi threw it past it, had a great opportunity for a couple of marks in a row. And a 9 box. Cyndi works in home care aid for the elderly with TLC Nursing. Has 3 daughters. And a strike. We're 1 pin away of having 3 marks in a row.
That almost looked like a Mike Sargent strike that went down so quickly.
Chris Sargent.
Chris Sargent. Well, Mike Sargent, too, probably threw him like that, and still does, by the way.
Deb Regan, the 7-10 with a piece of wood.
Mike Morgan was telling me that he really knew Mike Sargent, Chris's dad, at the end of his real competitive career, but said the guy was a tiger. And that will probably be a dead ball as it hit the wood in the gutter first. It was close.
And that'll be a 9.
That's pretty much become an annual thing for Deb Regan, who hasn't missed too many of these shows. As a matter of fact, Dick, she would have been good enough to make 5th place in the men's if this had been a singles event. She would have been in the 5th seed.
A 6.57 in the roll-off. Isn't that something? Man.
She has tried on many occasions, and don't be surprised if you see her on one of our singles shows. She's come very, very close on a couple of occasions in the roll-offs.
Punched out the 2 and the 8. She was the #1 seed last year with Bob Betancourt. And a 9 box.
Don't believe they won, though, did they? They were beaten by Sean McKinley and Janet Pock. Speaking of Sean McKinley, we announced with sadness and regret the passing of Sean and Brian McKinley's mother here just yesterday before we taped the show in December. So our sympathies from the Candlepin bowling community go out to the McKinley brothers on the passing of their mother.
Put 8 in the strike. And a 9 box. 107 through 9. Tight first string here at Leda Lanes.
Last week they had, what, a 49-pin lead over Joanne Rosano and Mike Morgan after 1, and those two guys almost came back, Rosano and Morgan, but fell a little bit short. It's the 6 and the 10. Some wood over to the left. Doesn't really have any bearing on the shot. Well, maybe it did. Somehow that piece of wood may have deflected the ball, and the 10 remains. So even when you think the wood may not affect the shot, sometimes it does.
Chris in disbelief as he turned away. And a note here from David. I'm not sure if his name is David Wilmington or if his name is David from Wilmington, Massachusetts, the way the email is signed. He's been watching the show for about 4 years. He's enjoyed it thoroughly, extremely pleased with the success. When he was young, he used to watch Don Gillis on Channel 5. And he has 2 questions. Do we know off the top, Mike, without looking it up, what was the highest score that a bowler bowled in one game on our show?
Well, this, of course, predates us. Something in the 190s. As far as we know, never a 200 game on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Can't give you an exact score, though, as all the records are not available to me.
And is there any way he could get hold of the old Channel 5 shows on tape or DVD? My best suggestion there would be to call Channel 5.
Doubtful. Don't think they're going to let that out of the place. Certainly not on DVD. But I bet you somebody out there has a bunch of videotapes.
101 through 9.
I'd go to candlepincorner.com and maybe Kevin will put a little announcement for you
Good idea.
On the website.
Good idea.
A lot of Candlepin fans take a look at that. Might have some tapes they'd be willing to let him copy.
If you are at all into Candlepin bowling, you ought to check that site every now and again, too.
It's the best.
CandlepinCorner.com.
With links to all the associations and other organizations.
Nice spare by Mike McGann in the 10th frame. So we're going to have a very tight match after one string. He's at 111 plus a ball. Cyndi and Chris had a 117 first string, so 6 will tie, 7 gives him the lead. And it will be less than 6. It'll be a 3-pin fill in the spare and a 114 first string for Mike McGann and Deb Regan. They trail Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley by 3 pins, headed to string number 2. We're coming right back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS-TV. Deb Regan gets ready to bowl in our second string. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. And our WNDS-TV crew working here at Leda Lanes. Here's Deb Regan, first ball. Will it go? Oh, that pin skipped across. How far did that pin move?
My. It actually hit the pin on the bottom. It looked like it would topple it, and then it just kind of reinforced it. It stayed up.
She got the spare.
She would have missed it had the pin stayed probably on its original spot.
You're probably right. Watch this strike and watch that 4-pin on the left.
The near strike.
Near strike. Watch the 4-pin. It's going to get hit right here and move and angle and move and didn't go down. Now on the spare. 7 in the spare. Kevin LaFawn's our director today at Leda Lanes. Don Cronin's working the replay machine. Alex Callistoff's on audio. Keith Webb's our engineer. Cheryl Sylvia's on computer graphics.
Oh,
and
nice
it'll
touch.
be a 10 box. In our camera crew of Kevin Sheehan, John Elias, and Dean Zanello here at Leda Lanes, making it all possible for you to watch the best Candlepin bowlers in the world. Not just here in New Hampshire or New England, but in the world. Week after week on WNDS-TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Oh, look at that.
Well, with all the wood that was out there, it's amazing that she didn't get it. Cyndi Cawley holds the record for the best 25 strings in the WCBC women's division. That's a record they don't really keep track of any longer. She was the bowler of the year and rookie of the year in the same season, 94 and 95. That is a remarkable feat.
Right on the head pin again. Can she break up the split? There's that 4-pin again, wobbling. That spot is a tough spot where that 4-pin sits. Not going to make it. She will be open for the first 2 frames. Look at this for a try. She almost made that shot. So the lead changes hands, and the team of Deb Regan and Mike McGann now have a 5-pin lead in the match. And McGann steps to lane 34. Right through the middle. Chopped it right through. 4 on the left, 4 on the right.
I don't believe I've ever seen this one converted. I've seen the spread eagle. I've never seen this one made.
It must have been converted somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure it has. It's a rare leave to begin with.
He only picked 1 pin, the 2-pin. Everything else is still standing. And it's going to be a terrific out. 9. He'll take that.
Gets a nice round of applause from our very enthusiastic post-holiday crowd here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire.
That's a pretty good strike ball right in the pocket, and the 5-pin still stands.
Speaking of strikes, should either team put together a 3-bagger, that'd be worth $825 in our triple strike jackpot.
And there's a nice spare for Mike McGann. And of course, a lot of the people here watching our matches at Leda Lanes when they're not watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. They're listening to New Hampshire in the Morning with Mike Morin on WZID 95.7 every weekday morning, starting, what, about 2 o'clock in the morning? What time do you go in?
Boy, it seems like that. We start at 5, Nancy Robbins and I, and we begin with the horoscopes, and then we take it from there. We have a good time, and thank you very much for that plug. You're buttering me up here for when you try to take me apart in our bowling match.
What do you mean, try?
In the spring.
Chris open in the 3rd frame. So they're looking for their first mark of this 2nd string. Moving over to lane 33. Caught the head pin, but leaves himself a tough shot. The 4 and the 8 on the left, the 10 on the right. The wood may help.
Not only does he have a 213 high string, he's also had 207, 210, and 211 to his credit.
Well, one piece of wood got in the way of another there, and that prevented him from having a shot at the spare. And this will be a 10 box, and we're going to go to the break with the team of Regan and McGann in front by 5 pins over the team of Cawley and Sargent. We come back after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Deb Regan is ready to bowl, and you're ready to watch her. As we near the halfway point of this championship match, mixed doubles competition. If you're just joining us, this is the time of year where we digress from our normal ladder series format of men only and bring you 4 weeks of mixed doubles competition pairing men and women. They roll off separately, and the top 5 men are paired with the top 5 women. And we're down to the championship match. Here's a nice shot by Deb Regan, but she'll not convert. You've got the top seeded team of Deb Regan and Mike McGann, and the number 3 seeded team of Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley. How well did they bowl in the roll-offs, you ask? Well, Mike alluded to it earlier. Mike McGann won the men's roll-off with a 688. Deb Regan won the women's roll-off with a 657.
That had Half Worcester written on it all the way down the lane on the right side. Deb Regan, the 3 and the 9. Deb Regan is the, well, she used to be the owner of the Debutante Salon in Epping, but sold it to her daughters, Kelly and Lonnie, and she now works with them and enjoys that arrangement. They can have all the headaches. Deb goes in and does her clientele. Kelly is 30. Her son Jeff is 27. And Lonnie, the other co-owner of the Debutante, is 24. That's in Epping, New Hampshire.
Here's Cyndi Cawley. Off the head pin. Gets a break with the wood between the 4 and the 7 on the left, which helps her out a little bit. Got a shot at it. Ooh.
Three and 6 remain. As Cawley and Sargent trailing at this point.
That's a 48 half. Again, just missed the head pin, which is so vital.
Except when you get the spread eagle, you kind of wish sometimes that you hadn't.
And again, she missed the head pin on the other side. Now she's got the 1, the 7, the 9, and the 10 with a piece of wood behind that head pin. And that's all that she takes is the head pin. So it's a 7 box. And McGann and Regan have built up a 14-pin lead. Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, presented by McMulkin Chevrolet, Nashua Mitsubishi, Nashua Hyundai, and Nashua Cadillac. And by Tri-State Megabucks and the games of the Granite State Lottery and the New Hampshire Sweepstakes Commission. McGann, ooh, that pin was spinning 100 miles an hour and wouldn't take it.
It's going to roll back, but
not in the right direction.
No. Probably had enough momentum on it, too, if it would have hit right in the center of the pin.
And that would be a 10 box. 2 marks in the string for McGann and Regan, none for Sargent and Cawley.
Tough split even with Wood, but there is none. 3 and the 6 on the right side, 4-7 on the left. Pretty much a cut shot proposition.
So he'll be open in the 8th frame. You see Chris Sargent in the background getting ready. 10 box, pair of 10s for Mike McGann. Chris Sargent ready to attack.
And recently engaged, we might point out to Christy, who is here with him today. They'll be married in May of next year, May 15th, 2004, in case you want to send a gift.
Nice shot by Chris Sargent. Look at that. The 10-pin is still there. Very frustrating. It looked like he shot it so well. And a 10 box for Chris. Needs a mark to get it down to within about a mark. That's a pretty good first ball, and the 7-pin still stands. And the wood falls by the wayside, so nothing but distance and air between Chris Sargent and that 7-pin for a mark.
That was so
he
poetic.
Will make it. Just did get it. So it's 14 pins less what Chris or Cyndi Cawley gets on the fill ball for the spare. Here's Deb Regan. Just the 5-pin.
Should mention Deb was the ladies' world all-events winner in Maine in 2000 and the New Hampshire State all-events winner in 2000, 2001, and 2002. 3 years running all-state all-event champion in New Hampshire.
From an artistic standpoint, it wasn't very pretty, but she'll take that spare. She knew it. She was fortunate that the wood was where it was because it wasn't how she had it planned. On the spare, Deb Regan right in the pocket.
That ball set up nicely in the 1-3 pocket, the New York side, but 4-8 remain. A good fill, though, on her 9th frame spare.
And she played the wood and takes the spare again. She used the wood very effectively.
Artistically, not real good. But look at the score sheet.
You mean you don't think she was trying to play it that way?
We'll ask her at the end of the match.
Looking for bonus money with a strike here. Right on the head pin, she'll put 5 in the mark. And a 125 second string for Mike McGann and Deb Regan. And now Cyndi Cawley has some work to do. Working on a Chris Sargent spare right here. Right on the head pin. Threw a good ball and did not get much to show for it. Just 5 in the mark and a mess left behind.
She's got all that parallel wood to deal with, the 4-5, 7-8 on the left and then the 10-pin. Some wood right in front of the 10.
Oh, she gave it a shot. She tried to cut the 4-pin and take something with it, but unfortunately it didn't work. It's a good 9 box for Cyndi Cawley. Needs a spare for 100.
And to pull it within about 2.5 marks. Down 33.
Good ball right on the head pin. There they go. Everything but the 10-pin. And the wood is somewhat of a debatable issue here right now.
It's there to deflect the ball.
She threw it right past it.
Perfect.
Nice shot.
Because if she nicks the pin, the ball deflects around it, probably.
99 plus a ball. So the lead is 23 minus whatever she gets on this ball. She needs a big count. She threw a good ball right at the head pin. She's got 7, 8, 9. That's a pretty good count. A 9 ball and a 108 second string for the team of Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley, and a 14-pin lead for Mike McGann and Deb Regan, headed to string number 3. Don't go away. We're coming back for the finale on Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. You are watching WNBS TV. Chris Sargent will be first to bowl, third string. 14 pins separate these two fine teams, with the team of Mike McGann and Deb Regan in the lead over the team of Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley. And what a strange shot that was. Chris Sargent there scratching his head.
Yes.
He couldn't believe it. 4 pins went down
So you
on a ball that hit the head pin.
You go for the 3-pin.
That's what they did. Will it go? The 4-pin is still standing.
That looked pretty good.
That was so unlikely. Look at that, it's still standing.
Just as unlikely.
Watch this almost spare. No, this is the first shot off the head pin. The number 1 pin goes flying, and 2 other pins go down with it. Now he's right on the head pin and straight through the middle with a spread eagle. Threw it past it, so he'll be open. You can hear Chris groan a little bit. Chris shows his emotions. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, doesn't he?
Sure does.
And that'll be a 9 box, a good 9 out. He doesn't keep anything inside,
which is a healthy thing usually.
Mike McGann, lane 34.
They can add substantially to their 14-pin lead here with a good start.
And he threw a good ball. He's got the 3 and the 6 with a piece of wood, a couple of pieces of wood. That piece of wood on the left.
They're not, well,
that's a good piece of wood.
Now it's good. Definitely wants to use that one.
And he did, and he got it. Spare from McGann.
$1,500 to the winning team today. And
watch him play the left wood and clean it up nicely.
1,000 for the runner-up there. Extra fill and some decent wood for this shot. 7-10. 3 pieces of wood on the lane.
This is going to go, Mike.
I like the wood better when that one wasn't right up front like
this
that.
Is going to go.
But it can work. Hit the stripe.
Nope, he didn't play it the way I thought he was going to play it.
And I don't think he meant to play it that way either.
And he'll take the 10 box. Adding 10 pins to the lead. They lead by 24 pins now with 8 boxes remaining. The team of Deb Regan and Mike McGann over Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley. And this is Cyndi Cawley on lane 34.
Kind of dropped that ball. It never recovered. The ball rotates from right to left, and it just kind of stayed out there.
She will be open with an 8 box. Just threw it past the head pin. A little bit of a hook on that ball. Shot it right past the head pin. 4 horsemen right side plus the 8 pin in the back row. Nice shot. There's the 8 pin in the back row, still standing.
As it usually does when you hit it like that.
And that will be a 10 box for Cyndi Cawley. Now Deb Regan really trying to open some distance right here. A mark or 2 could really put the team of Regan and McGann in control of the match. Right on the head pin. Look at this. The 6 pin still stands. And there's a mark for Deb Regan. Precision bowler. She throws the ball with that severe angle from the right corner of the lane. Right in the pocket again. The 7 pin still stands. Put 9 in the spare.
She's got to
play the wood or not?
Nope, she's got a clean shot at it.
Yeah, the wood squared away anyway. Missed it. It stayed on the alley, but it went by the pin, which is a hard thing to do. And that'll be a 9 box of Deb Regan as we go to the break. The lead is now 34 pins for the team of Deb Regan and Mike McGann over Cyndi Cawley and Chris Sargent. We come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, right after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Sargent ready to go. His team trailing by 34 pins with 6 boxes remaining. He threw a ball right at the head pin, but he was a little bit too full, and he's got a tough shot. The 2, 4, 7 on the left, the wood between the 2 and the 4, the 6 and 10 on the right. Nice shot.
Oh, my.
How's that for a shot by Chris Sargent? Wow. Watch it again. Just don't make it any better than that. The wood helped him, I believe. It helped him slide that pin over. The ball directed into the pin. Right on the head pin, and oh, Chris not happy at all.
Can't believe it. After a great shot, boy, that's a disappointment. 2 inches either way, he throws a strike.
Look at this.
Oh, my. A spread eagle. You see that about once a year.
That was a pure spread eagle with no wood. Watch it again. No wood to help out.
That's
action off the boards, and there it is. 2 marks in a row. Now let's see how Mike McGann responds. He's got the 4 horsemen on the right side.
So really, Chris had 5 out of 6 in the spread eagle, and then the spread eagle itself. Remarkable spare shooting.
Mike's not going to make that spare. He'll be open against a Chris Sargent spare. So the Sargent Cawley team will gain a little bit of ground. That'll be a 9 box.
So they got 5 pins back in the 5th frame.
And they're up against another mark. Right on the head pin on the Brooklyn side, and look at that pin dance. How far did that pin move?
It moved midway between its spot and the 1 pin. It was at one time the 3 pin.
And I think it's now closer to the 5 pin, where the 5 pin was or something. It's in that, that's almost in the middle of the alley. Will he get it? Was it frozen? Yes, it was. So he'll take it. A spare from Mike McGann in the 6th frame to match the Chris Sargent spare. Watch it again. Watch that. Watch this pin dance. How far does it go? Here it's going to get kicked. There it goes. It moved a good couple of inches.
But it was frozen, so even though he missed the actual pin itself, it took it down.
Cyndi, on a spare, puts just 1 in the Chris Sargent spare. That does not help. Nice 10 box. She came back nicely. Eighth frame, lane 33, right in the pocket. Nice shot. Can she break up the split? Yes. Just the 10 pin.
She had a shot like this a couple of boxes ago, and she went right by the wood, which she really want to do here.
Oh, she's playing the wood this time. Not going to make it, though.
Last time she went directly at the pin, which is usually the higher percentage shot.
That'll be a 9 box for Cyndi, 80 through 8. Deb Regan working on a spare, trying to put the nail in the proverbial coffin here. Threw it past the head pin, so it's only going to be 4 in the mark. She will be open in the 7th frame. So it's still within a couple of marks with a couple of boxes to go. And that's going to be a 6 box, and that hurts.
Being heckled by some of her teammates who are in attendance, other friends. A lot of professional women bowlers are here today watching the other ladies.
Deb right on the head pin there, but can she break up the split? No, she's got a tough shot ahead. 3, 6, 10 on the right side with a piece of wood in front of the 10 pin, and then the 7 pin over in the other corner. Nice shot, but she's not going to make the spare, so she'll be open in the 8th, leaving the door ajar just a little bit for Chris Sargent, who needs to finish strongly. And that will be a 10 box for Deb Regan. So it is a 29-pin lead, 2 boxes to go, and Chris Sargent needs to run the table. Needs certainly a couple of marks. A couple of strikes would really be helpful. He's capable, but he put it right through the middle. And that should just about do it, Mike, I think.
Probably right. However, he's just made 2 remarkable spares, fairly similar to what he's got here.
Is he going to get it to come in the back door? No, he's not. He'll be open in the 9th, and that will just about end the match. 10 box and a 90.
There's only so many rabbits in the proverbial top hat, I guess, and time has run out on those spectacular Chris Sargent spares.
Needs a strike.
And another split. That's 4 in a row for him. His last 4 balls
all splits
have been splits. He's made 2 of them. He's that good.
Not going to make that one either, so he'll be open in the 10th frame. And a 10 box for an even 100. And the match is over. McGann and Regan have already won the match. It's a question of how much will the margin be, and will they win any bonus money? $800 still out there for triple strike if we could put 3 in a row together. 4 horsemen on the left side, the 9 pin in the back row. No, he's not going to make the spare. And again, that wood frozen to the head pin, which gives you some room to miss the shot like he did there. 105. High string in the match. That will go to Mike McGann and Deb Regan as well, and an extra $50. No bonus money in the match. Spread eagle for McGann. It's academic at this point. Will he make the spread eagle? Almost, but not quite.
Way to see 2 in one show.
Tried to match Chris Sargent. And a 10 to close out with a 115 and a 3-string total of 354 to the 325 for Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley. We'll come back to meet our winners and hand out some money when we return to Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Team of Deb Regan and Mike McGann defeat Cyndi Cawley and Chris Sargent. Final score 354 to 324, and Cyndi Cawley and Chris Sargent are standing alongside. Who do we have with us here?
My godson, Billy. Say hi, Billy.
Hi, Billy.
He said hi. He did what he was told. He said hi, Billy, and that's just what he was told. Chris Sargent is standing alongside. Mike Morin didn't introduce you a couple of weeks in a row, and we tried it a 3rd time today to see if it would be a charm. It didn't work.
No, I didn't want him to. You know, I figured keep the same thing going. Why not? Hi, Billy.
Well, we have $1,000 for the runner-up team. Congratulations. Thanks for being with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Chris Sargent and Cyndi Cawley, our guests, and our runner-up here this afternoon. And now Deb Regan will move up to lane 33, and we'll have our bonus ball contest. Hi, Billy. That was cute. Deb Regan will try to match her up with a winner at home, and let's see if we can give away some money, $60 in the bonus ball jackpot. And Mike Morin will reach into the bin and see if you can pull an 8 out of the barrel there, Michael. Let's see what we got. We've got Mary Bartone from Canton, Massachusetts, a 7, not a winner. It is a consolation prize and for men in our trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts. And let's bring up our winners, Deb Regan and Mike McGann. Come on up. Come right between us if you would. And the prize money, will hand it out. $1,500 gets split between the two. Plus we have $50 in bonus money for having the high string in the match. You were nervous or not nervous?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, but you get over that right away.
Quickly, you got on the board with a mark real early in the match, and that takes a little bit of the butterflies away, doesn't it?
Yes, it definitely does.
But Deb Regan, you're a veteran of this. You never get nervous when you're on TV, do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah?
I probably do, but I don't know that I do.
You don't look it. You don't look it. You look like it's old hat, and you've been here many, many times, and you look like you're in control.
I have. I feel good. I felt good up there today. We threw a nice ball, both of us. Did great.
When you're on for the first time, what's going through your mind as you're starting out?
Try to concentrate, relax, and hit your object pins.
And you did a good job at it, Mike.
Now, my prediction is sometime between now and the end of the year, we're going to see Deb Regan in the men's singles. You've come very close, haven't you, Deb?
Yeah, I have. I can't bowl the way I do when I come to do this one, but when I bowl for that one, I tend to kind of slack off a little bit. But one of these days, I keep trying. I'm going to make it.
Well, the reality is that you were good enough with the women's group this time that you would have been in 5th place had this been a men's roll-off.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would.
Well, one of these times we'll look for it. Mike and Deb, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Way to go.
We'll see you again on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Nice to see you. Good luck and best wishes. Well, there's our winning team, and we're back to the ladder series next week, and who will it be? We don't know.
Well, we don't know yet. The roll-offs are in progress, but we've got 3 seated in the Tournament of Champions and 3 more to go till we get to the big tournament at the end of the season.
Mixed doubles, always fun. Glad you were able to join us for it over the past 4 weeks, and now we're back to ladder series and our participants in the Tournament of Champions. That'll play out, and we'll have more information on that as we get down the road. So that'll do it from Leda Lanes. For Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, as our friends at Leda Lanes always like to remind you...